you and I are going to listen to this album, Astro World by Travis Scott. Why should you listen to music with me over anyone else on the internet? It's because I've been around a long time on this planet, and I've learned that songs can be your best friends. And music really does come from here! Ooh. Sort of transported to Asia with a flute. And some bells. Whoa! Oh yeah, I like that sparse drum beat. Ooh, very noticeably Travis Scott. Even the melody actually on the vocals. Whoa, are we taking auto-tune to a new level here? That was almost like a digital MP3. Stop. Next track. Bang. And then. But we're on vinyl. Oh. Listen to that. Beach ball. Bouncing a beach ball. Basketball. Bouncing a basketball on the court. Bass drum.
Okay, I'm backstage diving out the nosebleeds. And she hit that booger shit till her nose bleed. Bouncing shit forever, she on both knees. She was talking about forever, got a whole week. But she
sending those
mama is a trophy. She be throwing up a piece
round the head.
She keep my dick jumping out it like I'm Moby. I'm way too gold for this beefing like I'm Kobe. Yeah, this right here is astronomical. I see you picked up on my
it's
ways.
Like Rincon Glaze Caverns.
They're trying to say that all my problems is improbable. They keep itching at my spit, I'm diabolical, you feel me?
Still your left hand's doing that with a basketball.
What's cracking? You already know who it is. Your boy Big Tuck, Freight Train Tuck. Astro World is Nan Session. You understand? I'm the dean of this here. I got this.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Part of the days in and taking no days in. Yeah. Don't need a vacation, I need a replacement. Busting the lights out soon as we came in. Yeah. What are they talking about? What is pertaining? Yeah. Need me a therapist to ask if I'm aging. Is it me? Do you feel caved in? All of my demons invading. I live paranoid, hesitating. They biting the cadence. Go out their way, it's okay. Just like the doors at the basement. I got a gate with my face in it. Brand new, this new place I got to. New world, new sky, that's so blue, it's black too. New growth, all these faces I outgrew. Blue bands, get my cash from drop through. Oh, you're too flash, keep the flash minimal. Bitch, I'm too cold, see my breath visible. Yeah, icy cold, it is so icy cold. Landing down when caught 2 wings. Time to scrape, lift the stage, 2 wings. Better pray, 2 wings. Brand new, this new place I got to. New world, new sky, that's so blue, it's black too. New growth, all these faces I outgrew. Blue bands, get my cash from drop through. Boy, you're too flash, keep the flash minimal. Bitch, I'm too cold, see my breath visible.
I mean, that bass drum there, it feels subby. Whoa! It's like an old organ in an old silent cinema, put through a Boss distortion pedal. AstroTurf.
Yeah.
Astro World.
Sun is down, freezing cold. That's how we already know. When it's here, my dog will probably do it for Louis Bell.
I like that.
That's just all he know, he don't know nothing else. I tried to show him. Yeah. I tried to show him. Yeah. This shit way too formal, y'all know I don't follow suit. Stacy Dash, most of these girls ain't got a clue. All of these hoes I made off records I produce. I might take all my exes and put them all in a group. Hit my essays, I need the booch. About to turn this function into Bonnaroo. Told her hop in, you coming too. In the 305, bitches treat me like I'm Uncle Luke. Have to slot the top off, it's just a roof. Don't stop crying. She said, where we going? I said the moon. We ain't even make it to the room. She thought it was the ocean, it's just a pool. Now I gotta open, it's just a ghost. Who put this shit together? I'm the out like a light, ayy, like a light, ayy.
Out like a light,
ayy. Slept through the flight, ayy. Not for the night, ayy. 767, man, this shit got
Sicko mode.
bedroom, man. I still got scores to settle, man. I crept down a block.
Written by 100 people.
Cut the
Not
lights,
surprised.
pay the price, yeah. Niggas think it's sweet, it's on sight, yeah. Nothing nice, yeah. Vegas in my ice, dots that I took. Wet like I'm booked, wet like I'm Lizzie. I be spinning valley circle blocks till I'm busy. Like where is he? No one seen him. I'm tryna clean him. She's in love with who I am. Back in high school, I used to bust it to the dance. Now I hit the FBO with duffels in my hands. I did half a Zan, 13 hours till I land. Had me out like a light, 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 like a light. Yeah, Pastor Dawson Sally sending texts, ain't sending kites. Yeah, he say keep that on lock. I say you know this shit is tight. Yeah, it's absolute. Yeah, I'm back with Boot.
Vocals by Travis Scott and Drake. I was definitely noticing that some of the main rapping is not Travis Scott. But I've never listened to Drake.
Yeah, it's how it look. Yeah, mama cover Forbes, got these other bitches shook. Yeah.
That's weird. Just went to like another time sig there. Straight away again. Very atmospheric.
Rest in peace, it's screw tonight, we take it slow.
Rest in peace. Let's take it slow. Ooh. That instrumentation. That's a bit rodeo. Ooh. Pet Shop Boys. Strings. Playing with a portmanteau. What's that sample from? It's beautiful.
Rest in peace, it's screw tonight, we take it slow. Oh my God, I just can feel the love. Jumped out with the windows up. Jump inside on what you roll with us. Make the devil bite the angels up.
Those keys are really reminding me of West End Girls by the Pet Shop Boys, weirdly. It won't remind you guys because you weren't born then.
Rest in peace, it's screw tonight, we take it slow. Yeah. I just took a fold to the head like man. Drop the top on the slab like man. Off the top of the dome like man. Nothing beating home like man. In a screw tape zone like man. I go Pepsi on the phone like man. Flip say platinum, don't do chrome like man. Had Southside fade, now let the braids hang.
Sound into a national sound because throughout the South, and it's new to
Shawty got a thing for us.
This is the real action, the hot part, the trigger, the renaissance, the hit one, all gathered in secrecy and flying high as a car.
Just know what this about.
We just slipped into something a little more comfortable then. Did you hear that?
Palm trees, oceans, fresh air that can break your heart. Stop trying to be God. Stop trying to be God. That's not who you are.
Ooh,
Visions in these angles tight.
what's he saying then? Stop
Truth be told, I
moving
never
any
tried.
cars. I feel saying stop moving any cars. He's probably saying stop trying to be God. Stop trying
rollies
to
look
be
alike.
God.
After 2 you get a hookup price.
Stop
Stripping never
trying
works a 9 to
to
5.
be God. Vocals by Travis Scott, Philip Bailey. Phil Bailey.
Stop trying to be God Almighty.
No, I'm thinking of Bill Bailey.
The money never leave your people behind. It's never love no matter what you try. Still can see it coming down your eyes. Cause they did not create commandments. When you hustle, always make it fancy. The signal's far from what you can be.
I gotta say, when I listen to the radio these days, when it's forced upon me, every singer, especially, oh, a little bit of Stevie Wonder there. Even the women that can sing, and the men that can sing, everyone's run through auto-tune. I can hear it. Everybody. Stop trying to be God.
When you hustle, always make it fancy. The signal's far from what you can be. Cause the traffic controls the lane. You won't succeed trying to learn me. Stick to the roads in my journey. Stay out of court when you got the attorney. She say she love but want to really burn me. Complex of the saint that's keeping you so still. Is it a coat of old paint that's peeling every day against our will?
Ooh.
Is it too long since the last open conversation you had? Don't know.
Such a lovely contrast.
And did you see
The auto-tune vocals with some beautiful singing. This
and
must
can
be
you ever see it coming back? Or can you
This will be Philip Bailey of Earth, Wind and Fire. Or James Blake. Maybe this is James Blake. James Blake.
Or can you always be a step ahead of it for me?
This is a beautiful accompaniment to what I was talking about with the auto-tune. It's almost like Travis Scott heard me saying it and thought, let's just fill the room with people truly breathing. Oh, now, let's bring the auto-tune back in with a vengeance and do that to Mercura number 6.
Told the pilot ain't no flight plans. Can't believe whatever I'm saying. And they know whenever I land. Yeah, yeah.
Pelican! boom, boom. Bah. Bah.
Family function, ain't no friends. Had a line around my ends, turned them into M's. Why you tryna make amends? What's that smell? It's heaven sent. Like I dropped straight out the wind, dodging hell and sins. I can go back there again. Nah, the dogs ain't civilized. Take the one feel vilified. You can't see my sons. Like the light don't hit their side. In the function and I'm fried. It's a strive, it's not a drive. When they open wide, it's a ride, ride.
Nah, nigga, for real. We walking in this bitch heavy. Ain't no be when they see me, nigga.
Slow motion. Ooh, listen to that bass just wobbling around like a penguin lost in a hot swimming pool. I don't know.
I don't know,
Oh. Ooh, those drums. They sound real. Is that Kevin Parker on the drums? I was gonna say. I'm gonna assume I'm right. Auto-tune is a toy that Travis Scott uses to bend time and space. And for me, it's quite right that he inherits the Earth and Disneyland and has children walking into his inflatable mouth. Join me next time for Record 2. Side C and Side D, where we're going to listen to Wake Up, 5% Tin, NC-17, Astro Thunder, Yosemite, Can't Say Who, What, Butterfly Effect, Houston Fornication, and we'll drink a coffee while we listen to Coffee Bean, I promise you. Over and